and the club at the moment is in a very sensitive situation. We've got the opportunity to move forward, and I think we're all hoping that somehow we can actually all get united back to taking the club forward and moving on. What I'm really looking forward to today is to hear everybody's views and also hear the response from Perry and from Mike. The meeting's been called, the way it came about being called is that because the supporters club were sponsoring Mark Sims's application to become a director, we attended a meeting a few weeks ago, and we asked the board if they would be good enough to come and talk to the fans. It's pleasing that the member of the board and the chief exec, who were actually going to be here after Christmas, are actually here to answer some questions. Just disappointing that others have not turned up. What we really want to do, as I say, the object of the meeting is to remove the mistrust that surrounds the club in some ways at the moment, and create a vehicle to harmonise the relationship between the fans and the club, and creating a forward plan that says, yeah, in future we'll interact and we'll move forward together. And I think it's very fair to say that Mike here has done his very best to interact since taking over the role that he has, and even previously to that, as you all know, he was the one director who turned up prior to the EGM meeting. I think we do need to clarify the air a little bit in relation to Mo Chaudry, Mark Sims, etc. Mark is actually on holiday at the moment, otherwise he would have been here. Mo declined an invite to come because he felt that it would have clouded the issue, and he just wants the club to move forward. But he did make a statement which he has published, but I think I'll just read it out again if that's okay for those who haven't heard it. In the aftermath of the EGM, 1st of June, I have continued to monitor events at Port Vale Football Club, although in less vocal and public terms. The EGM was, of course, a farce. Over 900 shareholders voted for change, yet the minority of shareholders joined forces to block the will of the majority. The difference in outcome rested in the actions of Broxap and their last-minute change of heart in terms of voting, a decision Broxap have subsequently come to regret with hindsight, given Mr. Lee's recent press statement and further endorsement of my original bid, albeit too late in the day. The EGM reinforced my long-held belief that any investor looking to effectively assume control of Port Vale Football Club with substantial investment is facing an almost impossible task given the self-serving constitution, 24.9%, etc., and the minority blocking vote of a few more significant shareholders and board members, current and old, who between them have secured over 24.9% of the issued shares. Hence the bitter irony of the complaint by the board that the revised bid of myself and Mark Sims of 24.9% each should be rejected, as we were apparently operating as connected parties. I have sadly come to the conclusion, given the actions of the few majority shareholders who hold this club to hostage to their fortunes with their collective actions, that it is impossible for someone like myself to come in and make significant investment in return for a controlling stake in the club. Such is the commercial reality of the business of football. No one is going to invest such a sum for anything less than a controlling stake. I would like to therefore thank the many fans and shareholders who have publicly and privately supported and encouraged me to date. There is, however, nothing more I can do. In my opinion, the business of Port Vale Football Club no longer represents a viable investment without a radical overhaul. The board will, of course, assert to the contrary, as is their prerogative, and in that sense, if they are as confident as they would have you believe, then good luck to them. For my part, I am formally withdrawing my interest, unless there is a complete change in the present board, and for clarity, that classes Mike Lloyd, Bill Bratt, Glenn Oliver, Mickey Adams and the Chief Exec Perry Deaky as the board, and an opportunity to restructure the council debt. If such change and opportunity were to arise, then and only then would I reignite my interest and re-engage in discussion. My objective throughout my bid process, despite the conspiracy theories and negative PR campaign against me, was one of sensible commercial investment to ensure as much as the investment went into the club to benefit the club as opposed to paying off majority shareholders in debt. I sought to achieve a solid financial foundation upon which to project Port Vale Football Club towards the 5-year target of Championship football, based at all times upon a viable business plan. My desire was one of a legacy for which some have sadly mocked and ridiculed. I nevertheless remain committed to my community, and my takeover of Esporta is very much in keeping with such commitment. I remain fascinated and excited by opportunities in the sport and leisure industry, and my track record to date speaks for itself. I wish all Port Vale Football Club shareholders and supporters well and the best of luck moving forward. Kind regards, Mo Chaudry. And just to tie up a much shorter statement from Mark Sims, who is on holiday, as I say, at the moment, then we can move forward with general discussion. From Mark, I welcome with some degree of caution the announcement from Port Vale Football Club that Glenn Oliver is to stand down at the AGM. I still urge a healthy degree of scepticism, as we have seen before. However, it is work in progress. I am, however, perplexed that I am initially castigated by the board for urging Bill Bratt and Glenn Oliver to stand down before I consider accepting a seat on the board, yet less than a week later the board acted in precisely the way I requested in the first place. It is bizarre and again clearly demonstrates the manoeuvring taking place by certain individuals for their own agenda and nothing else. Unfortunately, Port Vale's immediate future is not their main priority. It seems clear to me that once both Mo and I made our respective positions clear, that both Mr. Oliver and Mr. Bratt felt it was a job done on our part. I remain perplexed as to why Bill Bratt and Glenn Oliver cannot step aside now, as the investment is not conditional, or the new investment is not conditional upon their continuing participation in the discussions or presence thereafter. If it is a case, as I suspect, of them both awaiting payment in consideration for their respective shareholdings, then neither needs to be a board member to facilitate such an arrangement. Why they wish to delay their respective resignations until December and hold back the unity of our club is beyond me, but clearly shows that their reasons are not aligned with the best interests of the club. I will, however, be watching with great interest over the next few weeks to see how the investment they have set up matches the levels that they so willingly cast aside from local individuals. Sorry folks, that's the preaching over. So the move now is for Mike to actually outline in his own speech some points as